I just don't understand. No, I'm too good to you. I'm way too good to you. You take my life away. I just don't understand.
What's up, guys? I'm Kyler Jackson, your 2018 bodybuilding.com spokesmodel and the owner of DedFit Apparel. And today I'm going to show you how to squat properly. First, I want to get into a few of the different pieces of equipment that I like to use just for safety and for support, just to make sure that that knee joint stays warm and that you protect your spine during that squat. So the first thing is on relatively lighter movements, or when you're just busting through your leg workout doing a bunch of compound lifts. I like to use knee sleeves. I use these from Iron Rebel. Ed gave these to me. And basically, they're just going to keep that knee joint, give you a little extra support, a little more protection, and make sure that you don't like bust your kneecap or anything like that. The next piece is these knee wraps. And I really like knee wraps for the heaviest movements, heavy squats, heavy leg presses. And the reason is because it actually gives you that additional support to really just let you focus on working the leg muscles, working the quads and the hamstrings and even the glutes, rather than worrying about your knee joint as you're squatting 500 pounds or so. Now, I generally won't use the knee wraps for anything lighter than, say, 400 pounds or so on a squat, or 315 pounds on a front squat. And the reason is just because of that additional support that it gives you. I want to make sure that I am personally doing that work rather than having the knee wraps do the work for me. So those knee sleeves aren't going to necessarily do any additional work for you or help you lift the weight. It's just going to be a little bit extra compression, a little extra support. The warmth of that knee joint, you can feel a massive difference when you're working legs and they fully feel warm rather than staying raw like I have right now. If they get cold, you get stiff, things just aren't working properly. And the last piece of equipment is a good belt, a good heavy leather belt. I love Cardillo belts. They really help give me that support while also being comfortable. They're already basically pre-broken in, but once you work it in, it just fits so comfortably and just holds everything tight and protects your spine when you squat or any other movement that could put additional strain on the spine. So now we're actually going to get into the important principles of the squat. First off, I want to talk about bar placement. You have two options. There's the high bar placement or the low bar placement, and that's just the high bar back squat or low bar back squat. The difference is based on your body type and what you're comfortable with, where your center of gravity is. Some people find it way easier to use the high bar method because that's where their center of gravity is. For me personally, I like high bar. For plenty of other people who I know, the low bar placement just helps them balance substantially better. Next, we want to really focus on spine neutrality. And what that means is basically just keeping your spine straight all the way through the movement, not curling your tailbone under too much, not arching your back. Any of that stuff is going to actually make your spine vulnerable in those different individual areas. It's going to put extra strain on the vertebrae and you're going to be way more at risk for injury. So always try and maintain that neutral spine. Now, a neutral spine is literally just a straight back. That doesn't mean that you can't lean forward as you squat down. That's actually completely natural. That's a natural movement while you squat. But just keep it straight all the way down, all the way up. If you start feeling that tailbone curl under, it means for your personal anatomy and your body type, you aren't supposed to be going that deep. You're curling under because you are too deep in the squat. Depth is incredibly important. You want to go as deep as you possibly can before that starts happening. Another thing you'll hear all the time is don't let your knees pass your toes when you squat. That's totally false. What you want to avoid is allowing your knees to shoot out past your toes quickly. So much of the squatting movement is dependent on your personal body type. So for me personally, my knees are always going to cross over my toes, but as long as the movement is strict and controlled and they're not firing forward, I'm safe and it's all fine. You'll feel a strain in your knee if you are putting excess pressure on them. The next point we want to touch on is shoes. I personally like to wear Converse or Vans or just go barefoot. And the reason is because if you've ever worn Nikes and tried to squat, or if you wear running shoes or tennis shoes or any of that stuff and you try to squat, you'll notice your stability is not there. It's not a solid base for your feet to be holding a bunch of weight on your back and squatting down and up. Your ankles are going to be unstable. So to wear just flat-soled shoes or a lifting shoe or no shoes at all, just whatever gives you that optimal base and balance. As far as weight goes, if you're a beginner, which I know a lot of you guys are, I want you to make sure you check your ego at the door and you're using safer, lighter weights to start and work your way up. Do not feel like you need to have this crazy, super heavy squat to impress anybody. No one really cares. So most importantly, you want to focus on form and function to really develop the muscle the best you can. Don't worry about the weight that you're pushing, just develop that muscle group. So when it comes to a squat, your stability and balance is going to be so incredibly crucial because that's where your strength actually comes from. You'll notice a really, really powerful, strong power lifter is going to be very, very balanced and stable when he pulls that heavy weight off the rack. You'll notice a beginner just starting to squat, they're going to be like Bambi legs and they're just going to be like wobbling around and their strength isn't there. You have to build up that stability and balance to get the strength on a squat. So optimal depth with a squat is going to be passing parallel. You want to get past that 90-degree angle. So if this is your shin and this is your thigh, you want to get past this point just slightly, avoiding dipping that tailbone under. But that's it for this one, guys. I didn't want to go too in-depth, too scientific on you. I want to make sure you actually are able to watch through this whole video and really learn from it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned something. If you did, and if you liked this video, please give us a thumbs up. To see more videos like this, please subscribe to the channel. Always comment below with any critiques, comments, questions, requests, any of that stuff. Again, thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next one.
I just don't understand it. No, I'm too good to you. I'm way too good to you. You take my life away. I just don't understand.